I think people can hear me like moving my hands like that.
I
Anyway,
can't.
welcome to, I know you can't. Welcome to, it's not Beat the Banks today, but this is On Air with Beacon. We're doing another video space. Pardon me. My name is Chris. I'm the DeFi professor. Got Greg here, community leader at Total Value Locked from Beacon DeFi. How are you today, Greg?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, today's
This live
topic,
streaming is
yeah, it's
Go ahead.
like
I'm
it's.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's I like this platform. I like the way we're doing it. Compared to the past with just our Twitter Spaces and talking. It's nice to actually be able to see you when we're talking back and forth.
Yeah, and frankly, maybe we continue to do it this way. So, this is our weekly space where we talk. We normally we use it to introduce you to new communities from Beacon DeFi, or just for the community of Beacon DeFi. But today we're doing something a little bit different, like we did last. We talked about creating an all-weather portfolio. We did have a guest on today. Unfortunately, they had to postpone, but that's okay because some things have happened in this space, especially one to a really good friend of ours, and it really seemed like a good time to bring back a talk about staying safe in DeFi, right, Greg? And
Yes.
not getting fished. I mean, it almost happened to me yesterday morning. It almost happened to you, like what, 2 weeks ago or something like that.
Yeah, last week actually, I was talking to a place they had reached out to try to collaborate and try to do some tweets and some spaces, and yeah, they were like, "Hey, download our app," and I'm like, "Okay, let me see the link." Yeah, no, not doing that. Sorry,
No,
not downloading an app at all, actually.
been
But
there.
I was
Yeah, we had a
I
friend
was
of ours
curious to
who
see what the
unfortunately
link
got
was.
drained. People are getting drained left and right in this space, guys. And it's weird because you'll see it on crypto Twitter, and some of it seems like it's real. Some of it seems to be manufactured. Obviously, not trying to make light of anybody losing money in this space, but you have to be careful in this space. And I have some additional things outside of what we have here. I do have a presentation deck created to talk about this. Let me just do one thing real quick before I do that. Uh, Greg, let everybody know like your thoughts on just how crazy it's become this year with regards to fishing, and your thoughts on your initial thoughts on what people can do right now to stay safe in this space.
I mean, first thing is I mean, don't just go Googling stuff. Make sure you're getting your links from a reliable source. um, Double check your spellings when you are putting in stuff, because people love to just change it by one letter or change the capital in something so that it looks just like the link that you should be clicking to link up with an app, and next thing you know, yeah, your whole wallet's drained. Double triple check everything you're doing, um, because yeah, in a blink of an eye, next thing you know, everything that you've worked for the last 5 years is gone. And it's sad that people are doing that, but unfortunately, that's the reality of things when you become your own bank.
Yeah, and it's actually really sick, right? Because you think about what's the humanity like for people who create draining scripts and bots. um, and we'll talk a little bit about what's kind of going on out there. Just the key of today is really just to make you aware. And again, nothing is meant here to scare you, and I don't want to scare anybody specifically about this because it can be fairly scary. I don't want anyone to think that way. uh, Security is meant to be annoying, I guess is the best way to describe it. That's the key. Security is meant to be annoying. And I apologize, Greg, I didn't fix this layout, so I'm gonna hide you for a minute and bring you back uh, so you can enjoy. But the key here is obviously none of this is financial advice. None of this is really actually security advice, but you should be very vigilant about your security. You can't see it here, but I have something on my right here in the studio that always says, "Don't trust, verify," and that is so key with what we're trying to do. This is your hard-earned money. There's no such thing as a risk-free investment. I mean, how would you feel if someone went and exploited your 401k? That's years of work, right? Years of work. And that's years of people going and, putting their hard-earned money, hoping that by the time they retire, there's something there for them. Obviously not the same as, I mean, it is fairly similar to what we're doing here, but obviously in crypto and DeFi, there's been a lot better returns, for most people. Let's look at what we have today. Okay, so the whole point of this, staying safe in Web3 and DeFi, we're going to identify some issues with the current landscape, what you should be doing today for OPSEC or operational security, and best practices moving forward to stay vigilant about your OPSEC. And I'm going to bring Greg back in just a minute to kind of talk about his thoughts and what he does for OPSEC, because me telling you what you should do and talking with actual, with people who actually have really good OPSEC, like Greg does, he'll give you his thoughts specifically on what's going on with how you should be vigilant about your operational security. I did want to say one thing really quickly. There are a lot of people that I've met in this space that don't necessarily believe that it is something that you should do to be safe they don't think it could happen to them. Guys, I see it all the time. People get drained, people get exploited. They're like, oh, I should have done this, then you should have done that. You should be doing this from the beginning. Don't put yourself in a situation where it could happen. Take all those variables out of the equation. Okay, so why is staying safe critical right now? First off, BTC is at an all-time high. We touched it yesterday. 126.080 is the new all-time high. BTC historically has been the tide that lifts all ships. As part of the overall cycle theory, we are going to see a rotation into ETH and then into altcoins. And I heard this, multiple years ago, and it still rings true, especially in a time where we're in a bullish market. Number go up, IQ will go down. And the key here is, guys, bad actors love to rear their head. In the bear market, like, I'll be honest, no one really cared. But bad actors love a good bullish run. I mean, especially now. I mean, there's things launching every day, every week. It's a good way to get people, to catch people slipping. I still get messages in my DMs telling me I've qualified for some airdrop for some protocol that's been out for years. I remember people messaging me, hey, I heard there's a MetaMask airdrop coming. And the ironic part is there is one coming in Q4. But for many, many quarters, that was like, that's never going to happen. And I'm laughing because I'm talking about, I'm like, there actually is a MetaMask airdrop coming in a couple of weeks. So we'll see exactly how that goes. But here's the thing. Security is not a feature. It's a necessity, especially in this space. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on too with the burden of self-custody. And while it doesn't start with a you, security at the center of it is you. It's a dad joke. The threats are going to come in many forms, guys. Bad links on web pages, in mobile apps themselves. I've seen people, get drained because they were looking for an app. They downloaded something that had a hidden payload in it to snoop on crypto stuff. It wasn't even crypto related. I think they were looking for an app to help them find out if, I think, One Piece was streaming or something like that. Something random. And it had something in there that would actually check on mobile devices if they were doing DeFi. And sure enough, people were using DeFi with their main wallet on a mobile device, something we don't actually advocate, by the way, because there's too many threat factors. Bad actors in social networks. This is a big one. I mean, Greg, this is something we literally talked about yesterday, right, brother?
Yeah, I feel like bad actors is usually on the talking agenda at least weekly, if not daily. I mean, I see it all over the place. I just watched a stream yesterday about how, I mean, somebody is, I mean, yeah, they're just, and it gets so they get so complicated with doing it that you don't even realize, like, you're like, oh, this has to be a legitimate project. And next thing you know, they're sending all of your funds and everyone else's to a Binance account or somewhere else that you, once it's there, you can't track it. You
Yeah,
know, well,
exactly. And or they wash it through something like some type
yeah,
of mixer.
yeah,
Uh,
Tornado Cash or something
yeah,
unfortunate like that, which has its places, but that it seems to be where where all the bad money goes.
yeah, it can obviously be used for bad things as well. We also have man-in-the-middle attacks on exploited devices. So if you are on exploited hardware, oftentimes there's something listening to everything that you're doing. You got to make sure you have good operational security to prevent against that. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. And then just having poor OPSEC habits. And we can talk about that until I'm blue in the face. There are a lot of people who take security for granted. Don't be one of those people. And recently we had this one, supply chain attacks on existing applications. This happens a lot in web-based applications because whenever they create projects, they use what's called boilerplate. For example, I'll use this example for JavaScript with React. You can use the tool called Create React App, which will actually give you just a basic shell of an application, then you can just tune things to your liking. Frankly, it's easier that way because it's easier to exploit custom code than it is battle tested open source code, which a lot of this stuff is. So I'm saying that with my IT hat on, but we've had issues where, for example, the developer of a very popular error application got phished. He actually clicked on a bad link and someone took over, his credentials and then put out a malicious version of his error checking software. And it is something that's literally just a very small part of at least think it was like 250,000 applications. I don't quote me on that. Still do the research on it, but it reached a lot of people. And it's specifically, even though it was like for a very basic type of application, was looking for a crypto wallet application. So it wasn't even related, the actual exploit, to what it was going after. And it used some very interesting ideas on how to specifically find other wallet addresses if it couldn't find an Ethereum one, that was the novel part. Thankfully, enough people saw it on crypto Twitter. They patched it right away. I think the overall impact zone was like 55 wallets tops, but it could have been much worse. So supply chain attacks can be an issue. We've seen all kinds of interesting attacks in the past couple of years. Yeah. So what are they looking for when you are looking at an exploiter? Honestly, for me, I think it's based on psychological aspects that they're looking for. The first is FOMO. That is an acronym that means the fear of missing out. And that is for anyone who is just like, I got to get here. I got to get this coin as soon as possible. And you go and you click a bad link. I've seen this on airdrops specifically. They're like, oh, the airdrop's ready. You're going to try and sell it as quickly as possible to get the highest price for it, because oftentimes after a TGE event or an airdrop, there's a huge dump because people who receive pre-allocated tokens will dump them and never look back. I've seen people get exploited clicking on a bad link, and they knew it the moment they clicked on it, and there wasn't much they could do at that point. And that's kind of the thing. Having FOMO, being unfocused, and then being uneducated, being unprepared are the two biggest things. That's something that we talk about a lot in what we talk about in our group here at Beacon DeFi. Is don't be ill prepared and don't be uneducated, because those are exactly who people are looking for. And if this is something that interests you, if you know people that need to see this, please follow, like, subscribe. We greatly appreciate your support on this, because everyone needs to know this. And this may seem review for some of you, but still, I've seen people get exploited that are very, very smart because they did the wrong thing. I mean, even Vitalik Buterin, the co-founder of Ethereum, he got SIM swap attacked. I don't know if you guys remember that a couple of years ago. Do you remember that, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, it's vaguely, but I mean, I remember that it happened.
It doesn't take much. And those are the reasons why we advocate not using mobile devices with DeFi. If you have to, use it for a burner wallet to swap tokens, that type of thing. Just there's too many threat factors out there, especially with a lot of older institutions still not using good security to help you with your OPSEC. It's unfortunate. So we want to make sure that you're in the right situation. So I'm going to talk about these points with you here, Greg, because I think you have very good insight on stuff like this. So with things you can do for your digital hygiene for operational security. First, let's talk about securing your environment. Use a dedicated computer or browser profile exclusively for crypto activities, and installing reputable antivirus and anti-malware software. These are things, of course, that you do, correct, Greg?
Yes, I mean, I currently have 6 different profiles on my Brave browser that I use, depending on what I'm doing. Only 2 of them have wallet extensions on them. All the rest are for my research or anything else like that, just because I don't want anybody to have access to that. And then if I'm actually doing my yield farming or any DeFi activities whatsoever, I'll switch back to that profile. I also separate my personal identity from, say, my crypto identity by I have a separate email for all my personal stuff, like my bank accounts and stuff like that. I have multiple emails for my DeFi activities, depending on what exactly I'm doing. My wife tells me all the time, she's like, "You have so many emails." I'm like, "Well, they're they're necessary, because you just never know." You know what I mean?
You just never know.
You know, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'd rather it be a pain in the butt for me to get to my money, because if it's a pain for me, it's even harder for somebody else.
Love that. Guys, there's so many lessons in everything that Greg just said there. One thing, and we'll talk about it too in the next section, but yeah, having that separate email, that's the first key. Not having everything tied together. I had a good friend of mine, he got exploited, used the same email for his DeFi along with his password manager, along with all of his bills. They got in, they changed the passwords, they got into his password manager, changed all the passwords so he couldn't pay his mortgage, his utilities, his car. It was a huge mess. It took him a good, I want to say a good week and a half for him to get everything set up, or rather sorted out. You don't want to be in that situation. Protecting your connection, also important. Using a VPN. And again, this is not for anything other than the right to have privacy. You should have privacy no matter what you do online to encrypt your internet traffic. We are partnered with Nord, but you can use a variety of different ones that are out there. Having good network infrastructure, also important. Especially if you live in an area that has cable internet. Guess what, guys? You're sharing your internet connection with everybody in your neighborhood. So make sure that at the very least, you have a router or a firewall connected to your cable modem, if that's the case. And what I mean by that is have a device that sits in the front, whether it's like a Google Wi-Fi, Amazon Eero, Nighthawk from Netgear. There's a whole plethora of different brands that are out there. But have a good network infrastructure. Use strong passwords on your admin stuff. Don't make your Wi-Fi password easy to guess. The number of FBI surveillance van Wi-Fis in my neighborhood are a little concerning. But you definitely want to make sure you never connect publicly to any of them. And if you do, VPN at all times, because you don't want anybody snooping on your traffic. With good digital hygiene, and this is something that Greg already mentioned, using a secure, privacy-focused email provider. Who do you use for your email provider, Greg?
Proton.
That's my man right there. Proton Mail, proton.me. We used to have a couple others that we recommended, but they unfortunately went out of business. Tutanota is another one as well. That's a good privacy-focused email provider, but Proton is good. Any throwaway, Outlook, Gmail, Yahoo is fine. As long as it's like not connect, you just want to have something separate, mainly because you don't want to be in a situation where your personal stuff is getting mixed in with crypto stuff. You don't want that. You want all of that to be very separated. You want to use a strong, unique password with every one of these services. I would recommend you use a password manager, not LastPass, anything but LastPass. KeePass, 1Password, Dashlane, Bitwarden. I don't know of any others that come to mind, but those are 4 that I would definitely recommend. If you want to use Windows Password, if you want to use Google Passwords, if you want to use Apple Passwords, also fine. I prefer the Apple platforms because they do privacy and better, in my opinion, than most other places at the OS level, which is what I appreciate for all of my devices. So that is one that you'll have to kind of figure out. But you want to make sure that you use a password manager, because then you just have to remember one password, the master password. Make sure it's long, make sure it's something that you can understand and remember, has multiple things in it. And then you don't have to worry about the other passwords because you have no idea what they are. Worst case scenario, use your master password, get in, change the password again, and you can regularly do this. That's something I do when I hear somebody gets exploited, like our good friend yesterday who did. Went ahead last night, started changing the passwords, because that is something that's something you should be doing. Also, bookmark trusted websites to avoid phishing scams from fake search results. Because why, Greg?
Because, like I said at the beginning, or when we first started this talk, because people like to change websites by 1 digit, make it look super similar, and embedded in that link is a drain. It's just going to drain you. So I bookmark everything, even if it's something that I know by heart. I go and I press that bookmark because I know for a fact that that's right. I've been there 100 times. The bookmark's safe.
And the other thing too is that if you guys haven't noticed, whenever you see them at the top of the search bar, they're sponsored, meaning anyone can buy that space. And oftentimes they will buy that space. And I've seen, I mean, if you don't believe me, check out what you can do with ChatGPT or any other LLM right now. You can literally clone a website. Before, it was like it took a little bit of work, right? To like try and get the art just right. No, they can just straight up do it in 5 seconds. Bookmark them. Do your research. Don't be in a hurry. Don't FOMO. You'll be fine. All right. So the other part here is with smart contracts, because here in DeFi, everything is governed by smart contracts, right? Code is law in this space. The key here is you don't want to blindly trust code.
Creates the exact same thing.
Exactly. Now, we're in this is a little bit of an asterisk here, because thanks to the most recent EIP, why it's escaping me right now, 7207, I don't remember. 7002. Why can't I remember it? Anyway, on Solana, Cosmos, multiple other ecosystems that are not Ethereum virtual machine, you don't necessarily have a separate approval transaction. In fact, on Solana, it's all included in one. So kind of a moot point there, but just understand that you have to approve a transaction and then execute in order to have that happen. All wallets do, guys. Let me just make this point. When you have a web wallet, whether it's a hardware wallet or a software wallet or a web wallet, it does one thing and one thing only: approves a transaction. That's all it does. There are no tokens stored in your wallet. There are no tokens. There's no other things stored outside. I think the seed phrase, but outside of that, nothing is stored on the wallet. Okay. Even custom tokens, whitelisted addresses, the moment you install it on a new extension, on a new browser profile, they're gone. Why? Because they're only there in that specific extension. Same thing with the tokens. They're not there. They're, of course, on the blockchain. Really quickly, the one thing you want to verify on a contract is A, that it's whitelisted to the correct protocol, and B, it's deployed more than 3 to 7 days. If something feels off, honestly, it probably is. You should always be looking for red flags on stuff like this. Cancel a transaction, do some research. Pop that token address into a blockchain explorer. There's a couple of things you can do. Specifically, we like Rabby specifically for that. You can actually look at the actual smart contract address, make sure it's been deployed. If you're curious what I'm talking about, we have multiple things that are on our site that walk you through this, and we've talked about it on multiple free trainings that we have. So if something feels off, it probably is. And I will give you a great example of this. I was trying to get to a new blockchain. I want to say it was either Katana or World Chain. And I was looking into sending some USDC from like Arbitrum or Base over to that chain, whichever one it was. I used Jumper, one of my favorite sites to use, Jumper.exchange. Hats off to them. And I went to go check in Rabby when I went to go check, and I just do this all the time, but it's just habit at this point. I went to just check the contract. It was 2 days old. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. And I ended up actually going with like Kyber Swap or something like that, because that really freaked me out, because unless there's a reason why they have put out a new contract, and I had to go do some research, and then I didn't have that issue 2 days later. Like I said, I don't know if maybe there is like a weird thing happening with my machine. I rebooted. I went and just double checked. I just didn't do the transaction, because whenever you see something like that, you should take pause. You don't want to go ahead with the transaction, because you could be sending your money into a bad wallet, and you may have clicked on something. Well, I think what happened was they actually had to put out a new contract because of some issue. Anyway, it's fine now. But when you see something like that, cancel the transaction, do some research. Again, this is your money, right? So we just talked about this, right? Always double check your URLs. Support teams as well in your DMs are always a scam. Let me tell you, if you ever want to get quick followers on Twitter, here's a pro tip. If you want quick followers on Twitter, just mention a wallet. MetaMask, Rabby, just anything like that. Now, thankfully, the X algorithm has purged a ton of bots. But if you mention some of that stuff or mention a new protocol, oftentimes you'll just get new responses or new follows from quote unquote support systems, right? I remember when I was trying to farm Telegram mini apps at one point. Oh, all of the different games were adding me quickly. With with their quote unquote support teams. They're always a scam. No legitimate project is ever going to DM you first or ask for your seed phrase. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Just be sure to audit protocols and their teams. This is something I said, I think last Friday or the Friday before on our Beat the Banks community training. All projects are high risk. Actually, I said this last week on this space. That's where it happened. All projects are high risk until they can prove me otherwise. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter how much money you have behind you. We've seen really big VC projects get exploited in bad ways. Not going to name any names. Or blockchains. But let's talk about this really quickly. This is the hard part that I think is going to be difficult for most retail users to comprehend as well as accept. Yes, there is a freedom of being here in DeFi, right? You don't have to worry about other institutions making money off of you. You hold your assets, you're self-custodying them, they are yours, you can take them anywhere you please. But the one thing too about your keys, your crypto, and maybe we should add this, Greg, is your keys, your crypto, your security concerns. Because nobody is going to be looking out for you in this space other than you. And maybe groups like us, right? Or shout out to other security focused groups that are out there like Lobster DAO, for example, and Seal. The safety and the responsibility of your assets are in your hands and nobody else's. If you give up your seed phrase to somebody, There is nobody to blame but yourself, because you shouldn't be doing that. Same thing with your private key. Don't do that. Remember, you're going to be taxed like a business. Much worse, actually, especially if you have a lot of money, than you would. So treat it that way. Invest in your security. Get hardware wallets. Make sure that you have a good firewall or router between you and the internet. Use a VPN. Use a dedicated laptop with really good security system settings enabled. These are all very important things, guys. Also, do not assume that if your hard assets are on a CEX that they are safe. We've seen CEXs go out of business. Dare I say the names: FTX, BlockFi, Celsius, Voyager. I can keep going. You can also get your account taken away. The number of people who've been deplatformed by major CEXs in recent history is a little alarming. And a lot of it is AI based, right? Or, who knows what the criteria is. Greg, when was the last time you were on the phone with Coinbase support?
It's never happened.
Exactly.
And then again, I keep $0 on Coinbase at all times unless I'm onboarding money. So I have never had a reason to try to contact Coinbase support.
Yeah, but I mean, we get people in our group all the time, that they have had money sitting staked on Coinbase, and it's they're like, why are they holding it for like 21 days before I can use it? I'm like, it's just that's why it's there.
I know people who use Robinhood to do everything, and I'm like, but you're in Web3 and DeFi, but you're not, because you're on a centralized exchange, and essentially, when it boils down to it, they're the ones in charge of everything on their exchange. The only way to get full control is to go on chain, and that's the whole point of being on chain.
Exactly.
But it's also scary if you don't know what you're doing. If you haven't connected with the right groups of people that will teach you how to do it correctly. And fortunately, when I first got started in this space, I found, well, at the time it wasn't called Beacon, but I found you guys, and I made sure I knew what I was doing, or had a really good idea before I ever invested $1.
Right.
Because I'm not willing to let anybody steal my money.
And that's the attitude you should have. You should be vigilant about it. Nobody's stealing your money, as long as you do the right security things that's available. Again, for people are like, well, where do I put my Bitcoin if it's not on Coinbase? Well, you would put it on a hardware wallet. It's very simple.
This is where my Bitcoin sits.
Yeah, that's a Trezor, right?
Yes, sir. It's a Trezor, and I have never once connected it to my laptop.
Right. Exactly. And that's the one thing that you need to look at.
Use this for all DeFi activities.
That's a Ledger Nano
Yes, sir. But anything that I'm long holding and for my long-term future, it sits on my Trezor, and I don't connect it to anything. I keep track of it manually. I have a spreadsheet for all of that. I know where I bought. I know where Bitcoin currently is. I know how much Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum is in my Trezor, and yeah, it doesn't get connected to anything. In 20 years, it may, so I can withdraw.
Well, there's that. But you want to make sure that you're doing the right things there as well, like keeping your seed phrase safe. This new point that's here on the bottom, let me put this up here. Oh man, I'm covering it as well. Well, oh well. There's one thing that's brand new with a lot of new acquisitions like Stripe bought Privy, and there's also Dynamic. Shouts out to that team. They do a lot of great stuff in this space. It's easy now to have a wallet made for you, an SCA or smart contract account wallet done with your social login. That means your social login, your password better be good. If it's not good, change it today. Two-factor authenticate everything, guys, because all it takes is for a social engineering scam or somebody to, do something, and they have, and as long as you have your mobile device or something to help validate that you're choosing the right thing, you're fine. I mean, Gmail, for example, if someone grabs in your Gmail, they're like, oh, log in and click the number that we're showing in your app. It's a 1 in 3 chance that they're going to guess it right, guys, because they're only showing you 3 numbers. So just be safe, have a good password. Yeah, but with the social logins, the best thing I can definitely say there is don't keep a lot of money in them, and export the private key as soon as you can. Keep it safe so that you have that available in the event that you need to recover it into a regular wallet, like Rabby or MetaMask or whatever blockchain you're on. You need that for specifically for that. So let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. But yeah, self-custody can be a real burden, guys, but that's okay because you're in control of your assets, and that's exactly what you want. Let's talk about the social media scam. So people are getting hacked and impersonated on multiple platforms. This is a real big problem right now, guys. And that's because people have had poor operational security. They get socially engineered into getting into someone's account. I'll be honest, I don't actually answer those questions truthful anymore. Like when people ask for the birth date, I just give a random one that I know that I'm going to keep. I use the same answer to all of the security questions they ask you, and it's not what you think it is. It's unfortunate how easily you either have a rogue customer service representative or just people get social engineered into things. Watch the beginning section of Now You See Me, Now You Don't too, if you're ever curious about what that's like, because it's kind of interesting how easily that happens. Anyway, you get exploits, account takeovers because of that. I had a very nice guy who I met for 2 seconds at ETH Denver earlier this year, and I almost clicked. Well, I didn't download the application, but because I knew this guy, we'd shook hands and stuff. I got to a Zoom call that was clearly not Zoom, and clearly a bunch of rotating pre-done video. And you don't want to be in that situation, because the moment you actually download something, you're pretty much toast unless you're on a sandboxed account. Also, people have been selling their accounts. And I know that sounds kind of crazy. I've been on Twitter since 2007. I've gotten a lot of offers to sell my account. Didn't think I would. I didn't even think that was a thing, but people are doing it and they're getting impersonated. Don't believe everything that you see out there, guys. Don't believe everything you see out there. Believing it can lead to FOMO, can lead to bad things. And again, I'm not saying this to scare anybody. You just have to understand and be aware of what's going on in this space. So here's some steps you can do to mitigate this. First off, and I say this to people who work in the space, or if you're looking to get in the space, because Greg was mentioning he was trying to get a position with a team in Web3. I was looking to create partnerships, get guests onto some of our podcasts. As a founder, people have reached out to me. It's like, oh, I love your story. Can I get you on our podcast? Yeah, that's great. Would love to go out and spread the word of Beacon. Guess what? They're not really with the actual project. And as much as I got excited in that minute, I had to do some research and realize that they had just bought another account and just changed the name. It looked interesting. They have a valid Calendly that leads you to a bad link. You just got to be careful out there. In the event that you're in that situation, take the video call if you have one, which you should do anyway, because it's just better to face docs, I guess. Do it on your platform, like your Zoom, your Google Meet, or just use a web-based platform that doesn't require you to download something, because that's where things happen. Because even with Zoom, they have this ability for someone to, remote install things if you allow them to. Don't do that. Also, one thing you can do right now, create a guest profile on your account that is not an admin, because that's what they're looking for. When you download the things, it's going to start doing a payload, putting things in the background. If you're in a sandboxed, non-admin profile, those are things that can't be done in that. Also, don't have any wallets on that profile. These are all things that you should be doing just to, again, it sounds extreme, but there are extreme measures being taken by phishers out there right now. Also, don't accept the calls right away. Do some research, validate they're legitimate. In my case, so I'll give the example. People told me they were producers with Real Vision from Raul Paul. I'm like, well, hell yeah, I'll go on Real Vision. You want to hear my story? Yeah, that's millions of people that are going to hear about Beacon and what they do with educating people, trying to get them safely and securely into Web3 and DeFi. Why wouldn't I want to be on a show like that? It's one of the biggest brands in the world when it comes to crypto. Well, I waited 4 days, and then I noticed that they changed their username. And I'm like, it's a damn shame. Or they'll give you a LinkedIn to someone who works there. Go and find them on LinkedIn. Send them a message. Vet them. Just say, hey, and that happened to me. I was like, hey, I was just reached out by this person. Do they represent you? That type of thing. I do my homework on that because it doesn't take much to yoink somebody in this space. These are all things that you should be doing. Of course, the other part is don't download anything. Also, right now, if you don't have this done, turn off auto downloading. Make it always prompt you on where to save the file. You can go into your browser settings and do that right now. At the OS level, you can have it so no one can automatically just send you a file. You actually have to be prompted and accept it. And in the event that you fat finger and don't realize it, that's why doing it from a sandbox non-admin profile is going to be helpful. Also, always set 2FA, not SMS, on your platforms. It drives me absolutely insane, Greg, how many banks and things that are out there that still use SMS for 2FA. Like sending a 6-7 digit code to your phone. All it takes is a SIM swap attack like what happened to Vitalik Buterin to totally get hosed on something like that. They should be using something like passkeys, which uses your biometrics, 2FA through something like Google Authenticator, NT, all of these other authenticators that give you a timed one-time password like every 30 to 60 seconds. You should be using stuff like that. Do not use SMS. Like I know that on certain CXs they have SMS as an option. Do not use those. Use anything but that. What do you think, Greg?
I've
These are
actually
all good
stopped.
steps.
I've stopped if it doesn't require either something like Google Authenticator or Passkey. If it does the SMS, when it comes to DeFi, I just won't use them. It's
Same.
not worth me losing my funds, even if they've been around for years. Like update your security protocols, just like we have to.
Raise the stink about it if you have to.
Yeah, there's many a times where I've DM'd you and said, hey, look, I DM these guys in their Discord asking them about their audits. And I know that was last week's conversation, but if they're not willing to update their audits, they're not willing to update their security, then I'm not willing to give you my funds. And I don't care how much TBL you have.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, if a company is not willing to invest in their security, not going to make it, brother. Not going to make it. Simple. All right. So let's go into our security checklist here. Sorry, Greg, I got to hide you here one more time.
No worries.
So revoke your approvals regularly. There's a couple websites you can use. You don't really have to worry about this on Solana or any website. 7702 is the IP, by the way. I just remembered now. It's not live on all EVM blockchains, but once that happens, we will have a one-step process for approval, which would mean that you just need to make sure that you revoke your approvals regularly. If you use Rabi, that is what we recommend for Ethereum virtual machine blockchains. Anything that is either ETH L1 or compatible, or an ETH L2 or L3, just use revoke inside Rabi's wallet. It's very simple. You can batch revoke. It'll do them on multiple chains at the same time. Best way to go about it. But we do have revoke.cash, or in other cases, unrex.net is an older one as well. We had a situation where there was an exploit, and then revoke.cash's front end got compromised. So not only did they get you one way, people went to go revoke at revoke.cash, and you couldn't do it. I will say, if you have the smarts to do it, you can also do it at the Blockchain Explorer level. It's not as easy to do, but it's something you can do. Utilize hardware wallets. You saw Greg just put up his Trezor for his Bitcoin, and then he uses a Nano S Plus or Nano S for regular farming for long-term positions. Obviously, if you're just doing research, use a burner wallet that has no money in it. Simple as that. One thing I will say, there's a lot of people I hear about, getting yoinked for like 10K in a meme coin wallet. Guys, don't do that. Don't have all those coins just sitting in a wallet. I will tell you this, and it sucks because even bots get taken, right? We've seen some bots get backdoored. In the event that you cannot properly do that type of activity, use a bot. GMGN's got one. Cabbage has one. Multiple Jupiter does with Ape.pro. Just use a smart contract address wallet and insulate your funds away from getting drained because you clicked on a bad link. The whole point isn't that it won't happen to you. At some point it will. Knock on wood, I've never been exploited. Nobody in the team has been exploited. We've gotten halfway there. We've never been fully exploited. Just be careful. Think. Don't FOMO. Go slowly. If you have to buy something quickly, just use a bot. A good bot. If you have a cold storage wallet, guys, make sure it never, ever touches DeFi. That's where CXs will still be part of the meta there, right? Because we've been using CXs just as a conduit, a highway to get from our bank accounts down into our DeFi wallet. That's all we should use it for. You should not be using a CX as a bank account, guys. I don't care how good the staking is. If you're trading and stuff on there, that's fine, but don't keep all your funds on it. Keep it on a hardware wallet. What happens if something happens to Coinbase and you can't access your funds? You're screwed. Robinhood was down for a little bit yesterday. Imagine how all those people felt. And thankfully, they finally have actual crypto. Forever, it was just a cash position, and you never actually had exact exposure to the actual asset. So, one thing we talked about in Beacon is to practice wallet separation based on risk tier. And that means have a wallet specifically for certain primitive assets. So anything that's stable coins, one wallet address. And if you guys are curious, with your seed phrase, you can generate thousands of addresses off of that one seed phrase on multiple blockchains. That's why the seed phrase is so important to keep safe. Written down, archival link, archival paper, duplicated, put in safe spots that no one's ever going to find. But when I say separation based on risk tier, we have multiple members who literally just have an address just for certain protocols. I would say if you have NFTs that you are looking to list, put them in one wallet address. If you want NFTs that you want to hold for a while, put it in another one, or go see our friends at Defenders. They have a great vault that you can invest in, specifically on Solana, and a couple other chains that are coming soon. Make sure all of these OPSEC practices we've talked about, you have good practices on. If you're looking for more information on this, look it up in ChatGPT. Ask somebody on Twitter. There's a lot of different checklists, best practices, things that you can do to stay safe. Especially for SCA wallets, because they don't necessarily have seed phrases. They just have private keys in most cases. Utilize strong security with that. Make sure that you export it to an actual place that's safe, that's clean, and nobody else can see. And again, turn off automatic downloads in your OS. I know it's convenient. You just click a button and it just automatically starts downloading. That's a bad idea. Don't put yourself in a situation where you can get exploited because you downloaded something, even if you don't open it. Now, if you're a security researcher, obviously that's different. But for most people, don't have this on. Turn off automatic downloads in socials. In fact, if you have not done that in Telegram, do that right now. Open up Telegram, go to the settings, go to media, what's it called? Privacy and security. No, that's not it. Data and storage. For automatic media download, and turn those off. What that will do is that you'll see a link. You'll actually have to click it to interact. Or if even a photo comes up, it won't show up automatically. It'll be like a redacted kind of screen. These are things that you want to do to make sure you stay safe, because people are getting smart, guys. Again, turn on non-SMS 2FA on all platforms. Email, anything that you hold near and dear to your heart, you want that to be done. Be skeptical of everyone. I just talked about people getting reverse engineered. Had a really nice guy in my DMs yesterday trying to get me to download their conference app, their video conferencing app, to talk to him. It's like, no, man, it's not happening. And then I went back to our conversation, Greg, and that guy deleted all of our messages already. So I know that he wasn't legitimate, regardless of all the nice things he said about me. AI scripts can do all kinds of crazy things, guys. Always check for red flags. Don't trust, verify. Keep your devices and software up to date, and then bookmark all of your websites once you get the right ones. Use sites like DeFi Llama for URLs. Go to official, they can't even do official Twitter, not even official Discord sometimes. Be very wary of link shortener URLs, which is like, g.to and then slash and then some, or bit.ly. You want to make sure that you're actually going to the correct address. Again, take your time. Do not FOMO into something because you're trying to get into something right away. Take your time, keep a clear head about yourself, and you will find yourself in a much safer position than those who get exploited. I mean, we've seen it too, Greg, right? Actual projects get their Twitter hacked and put out a fake link. I'm trying to remember who that
happens all the time.
Yeah, it happened. It was bad.
Multiple projects. I mean, I could think of 4 or 5. I mean, I'm not going to name their names.
Yeah.
It's because they are decent projects and they've actually got their accounts back. But right. I see it all the time. They'll hack into a Twitter account just so that they can start putting out links that people are like, oh, I trust this account. I can press this link on Twitter. Next thing you know.
Yep.
And yeah. If people do reach out to you on your DMs, I just want to reiterate, don't be afraid to reschedule the appointment while you're doing your due diligence. I mean, if they're not willing to reschedule, and I'll tell them straight up, hey, look, I have to check this out first. And if they're not willing to let you check it out, they're not legitimate, because if they're in the DeFi space, they know, and they should be willing to let anybody do their due diligence. Just like the thing that happened with me a couple of weeks ago, they had sent me a link, and I don't be afraid to reach out to people that know what they're talking about in this space. Like the first thing I did was take a copy of the link and said, hey, Chris, what do you think about this? And talk about it, walk it through with people. Be safe. I'm not, like you said, we're not trying to scare people. We just want people to keep their funds.
Yeah. When I hear that a good friend of mine lost high 5 figures in 10 seconds, it's time to circle the wagons and have the talk, because it can happen to anybody. It can happen to literally anybody. I've had little people who literally told me, I gave them my seed phrase, knowing it was not the right thing to do, but I wanted to get this whitelist. And I was like, what? Some things aren't worth it, guys. Guess what? There's going to be something new tomorrow. There always is. There always is.
There's 10 things, 100 things coming out every single day in this space. And knowing that you're in the right project is going to be a way better gain than accidentally pressing the link or going to a project that is there for one reason and it's not to help you.
Yeah, exactly. If you guys are curious and you want to learn more, please check out our free group, Total Value Locked from Beacon DeFi. Absolutely free to join, learn from the best in the business, learn everything that we're talking about today. We have this available for you. Check out our Start Here post. You get a message from myself and my co-founder, Andrew. You learn a little bit more about what we have to offer, specifically with our Introduction to DeFi course. If you want to, if you want to learn more, if you're a high net worth individual, join our Beacon Mastermind. Be with the best. Get one-on-one mentorship from myself, and learn how to get in this space the right way. Or you can take our Beacon Challenge, earn your first dollar in DeFi within the first 48 hours. So, but at the very least, guys, if you know somebody who is looking to learn more about just being safe and secure in this space, please just send them our way. Send them this video. Like, subscribe, follow, retweet, whatever you want to do. Appreciate you being here today. Appreciate you, Greg, for being here with us today as well. Did you want to end anything that people should know about staying safe?
Download a password manager at the very least. Make sure that you change your password, your master password. I change mine every 90 days. And then my other passwords, I change either whenever I see something suspicious, or at the very minimum every 6 months I'm changing my passwords, just because you never know what you pressed and didn't realize you pressed, regardless of how safe you're being in this space.
Exactly. Yeah, you took my answer, man. That's how I know Greg. That's how I know Greg's got it, because he took my answer. That's the exact answer I would say. Passwords are the easiest thing that you can fix today. And from there, work on getting your environment secure physically. I mean, I know people who take things to the extreme. Like, they literally have a separate computer not connected to the internet that has all of the passwords specifically there. They have people who segment their Wi-Fi so that only one computer can be in that spot, and it's a very special situation with a specific security-minded OS. I know people that do some things, and while I'm personally not there, I mean, the easiest thing that you can do is just get a password manager, in my opinion, and get another email. Have a separate email for crypto. Along with that, and using Brave browser, those are 3 things you can do today to make your experience here as a blockchain investor better. So
go to ledger.com and get a hardware wallet. Make sure you go specifically to their website. Don't order it from Amazon, because
you can, because if it comes from they have an actual store on Amazon. So
okay, so let me reiterate: don't order a used one from Amazon,
exactly,
because they do sell them. A hardware wallet is so important, in my opinion. If you're not using a hardware wallet and splitting up your DeFi activities with hot wallets, it's just too easy to not do. So less than $100, you can get a hardware wallet and have it at your door in 72 hours or less.
Yep, exactly. And the reason why we recommend that, now there's Ledger and Trezor. Trezor's open source, but Ledger will take you more places. Ledger is accepted at BTC-Fi locations, Solana, EVM, Cosmos, just about everywhere else. Trezor cannot say the same. So that's the only reason why we recommend, Ledger above Trezor at this point, until something better comes along. So, but yeah, if you want to hear more from us, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, we have our flagship podcast, our Total Value Lock TVL show. That happens tomorrow. We have VDEX, a perp dex, to talk to tomorrow, as our featured panelist. And then we'll have our free community training every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern for Beat the Banks. That's what it's called. We'll see you then also here on these live streamed social media channels. With that said, thanks to you, Greg. And stay safe out there, guys. Seriously. I hate having to do these this often, to be honest, but it's what's needed to make sure that you all get the wake-up call you need to stay safe. And if you're not doing it, do it now. You can only, what's the worst it could do? Make you more safe. That's what we want here in this space. Take care. 07. Beacons up. Banks down. Take care, everybody.